I thought the idea of a digital ocean, that nice play of words, actually captures the idea quite well. If I take a step back, when we think about connectivity in the physical world, I think there's nothing more ultimate than shipping. Because within 1 to 2 weeks, anything you want can be reached and delivered to you around the world. Digital, however, really encapsulates that connectivity in the virtual world, because when data moves, it literally moves around the world, but not in 1 to 2 weeks, but in the blink of an eye. And herein lies the potential, because if you layer the digital on top of the physical, the data is always going to be one step ahead of the physical goods. And that actually provides that potential to look ahead, to preempt, and to be ahead of the curve. If you can enable that data to be shared, the idea of optimizing, looking ahead, shifting your supply chain, that control tower HQ and visibility, then suddenly becomes possible. Because fundamentally, digital doesn't just move at great speed. It both allows you to scale en masse, but at the same time to reach down to the last entity, be it your last container or your last package. So I think you can marry these two opportunities together. There's huge potential as far as shipping is concerned. Trust. How do you, in this massive scale where everything can be sent everywhere, how do you know it's trusted? I think you referred to the idea of EDL, the idea of trade trust, for example, which is one of the initiatives that we're piloting, to allow us to have that framework for that trusted transfer of titles. And I think that's going to be phenomenal if we can do that. I think only a few countries so far have recognized through the MLETR that EDL within law is actually a unique title. And I think this is something that a lot more needs to be done to get a whole critical mass as far as trusted exchange of key documents is concerned. So to me, that's the very first thing. Having a trusted infrastructure to be that interoperable, what we call that digital utility, I think is quite key to get multiple partners. One of the things that we're piloting, as you're probably familiar right now, is the SG TradeX, where we bring together from financiers to the shippers, to the oil tankers, to the hauliers, to try and make sure they have a common framework that you can connect multilaterally to share that data and again start to move towards that control tower visibility, harmonize the processes. So again, I see 3 key challenges that we need to overcome. First is make sure that there's that trusted ability to start to go down to the last mile to tap that potential. And finally, provide a common infrastructure that allows that data exchange. And if we can do that and hit critical mass across both government as well as the private sector, I think that speaks to the environment and that ambition. Innovation capacity that's being unlocked by, say, companies through these startup incubators is very key at the sort of the company level. And of course, for MPA, putting the industry together and aggregating that industry, for example, I think that's quite key. So you grow it from the enterprise and then to the sector level. But if I may offer one perspective, that then you can turbocharge that innovation if that sector then harnesses that broader tech ecosystem. For a lot of what I call demand companies, means that, for example, it can be a shipping company that has an innovative idea that they want to pursue, but to be honest, it may not necessarily be so core to what they do. And there's a potential to outsource and harness to innovative companies and startups, because there are many of these startups that are aiming to grow their business to scale and providing these innovative solutions to meet their demand. For innovation to really work, it has to fail. But how do you bias it to success? I don't think there's a secret sauce. It does mean that you try and sandbox at the early stage to sort of do as wide as possible, just to get enough of a sense to get in. Both the demand company as well as the supply startup need to view this as a strategic relationship using some tools of design thinking, try and bring that business perspective and the technology perspective to actually grow that product. If you are able to bring the both scale, build trust, use technology like blockchain, if you're able to use last mile IoT, 5G, if you're able to have a very common data infrastructure, as I mentioned, SG TradeX, I think these are the key components that will finally make shipping global in the true sense of the word and data seamless. Shipping is that interconnecting tissue that allows the entire world's commerce to take place. And if you then insert yourself as part of that connectivity for sustainability and what we call Tech X sustainability, I think there's a huge potential there to completely change the model of shipping.